Story Corner, presented by Jennifer. Warriors, Book 1, Into the Wild. Chapter 8, Part 2. As the patrol passed the sentries who guarded the camp entrance, the rest of ThunderClan came running to welcome their warriors home. Queens, kits, and elders crowded on either side. They peered cautiously at Yellowfang as she was led into the camp. Some of the elders recognized the old she-cat. Word spread quickly through the clan that this was ShadowClan's medicine cat, and a steady jeering hum rose from around them. Yellowfang seemed deaf to the taunts. Firepaw couldn't help admiring the way she limped with dignity through the corridor of stares and insults. He knew she was in a great deal of pain, and hungry in spite of the rabbit he had caught for her. When the patrol reached the high rock, Bluestar nodded towards the dusty ground in front of it. Yellowfang followed the ThunderClan leader's silent command, sinking gratefully to the earth. Still ignoring the hostile stares around her, she began licking her wounded leg. Firepaw noticed Spotted Leaf emerge from her corner. She must have scented the presence of an injured cat in camp. He watched the crowd part to let the young tortoiseshell through. Yellowfang glared at Spotted Leaf and hissed, "I know how to take care of my own wounds. I don't need your help." Spotted Leaf said nothing, but nodded respectfully and stepped back. Some of the cats had been out hunting, and fresh kill was brought in for the returning warriors to eat. They each took some food and carried it away to the nettle patch to eat it. Then other cats crowded forward to take their own share. Firepaw paced hungrily around the clearing and watched as the cats crouched in their usual groups, chewing and gulping. He longed for a morsel, but didn't dare take anything from the pile. He had broken the warrior code. He guessed this meant he was forbidden his share in the fresh kill. He paused beside the high rock where Bluestar was sharing words with Tigerclaw. Uncertain, Firepaw looked to his leader for a signal that he was allowed to eat. But the great cat and her senior warrior were busy murmuring at one another in low tones. Firepaw wondered if they were talking about him. Desperate to know his face, he strained his ears to hear what they were saying. Tigerclaw yowl sounded impatient. "It's too dangerous to bring an enemy warrior into the heart of ThunderClan. Now that she knows the camp, even the youngest ShadowClan kit will find it. Will hear of it. We'll have to move. Calm down, Tiger Claw, Blue Star purred. Why should we move? Yellowfang says that she's traveling alone now. There's no reason for ShadowClan to hear of it. Do you really believe that? What on earth was that foolish kitty pet thinking of? Tiger Claw spat. But think for a moment, Tiger Claw, mewed Blue Star. Why would the ShadowClan medicine cat choose to leave her clan? You seem to be afraid that Yellowfang will share our clan secrets with ShadowClan. But have you thought about how many ShadowClan secrets she might share with us? Firepaw could see by the way Tiger Claw's fur began to flatten that Blue Star's words made sense. The warrior nodded briefly, then started walking off to take his share of the fresh kill. Blue Star remained where she was. She looked out across the clearing, where some of the younger kits were fighting and tumbling playfully in the dust. Then she looked up and began to walk towards Firepaw. His heart lurched. What was she going to say to him? But Blue Star walked straight past him. She did not even glance at him. Her eyes were clouded with unknown distant thoughts. Frostfur, she called out as she approached the nursery. A pure white cat with dark blue eyes slipped out of the brambles. Inside, the noise of mewing grew louder. Hush, kits, purred the white cat reassuringly. I won't be long. Then she turned to her leader. Yes, Blue Star? What is it? One of our apprentices has seen a fox in the area. Warn the other queens to guard the nursery carefully, and make sure all the kits less than 6 moons stay inside the camp until the warriors have driven it away. Frostfur nodded. I will pass on the warning, Blue Star. Thank you. Then she turned and squeezed back into the nursery to quiet the crying kits. At last, Blue Star strolled over to the pile of fresh kill and took her share. A plump wood pigeon had been left for her there. Firepaw looked on longingly as she carried away to eat with the senior warriors. Finally, his hunger drove him forward. Greypaw was with Ravenpaw, wolfing down a small flinch beside the tree stump. He saw Firepaw approach the pile and flicked his head encouragingly. Firepaw bent his neck, ready to take a small wood mouse in his teeth. Not for you, Tiger Claw growled, striding up behind him and pawing the mouse away. You didn't bring back any prey. The elders will eat your share. Take it to them. Firepaw looked over to Blue Star. She nodded shortly. Do as he says. Obediently, Firepaw picked up the mouse and carried it across to Small Ear. The delicious smell of it wafted up Firepaw's nose. He wanted nothing more than to crunch it up with his strong teeth. He could almost feel its life energy flooding his young body. With great self-control, he laid the prey down in front of the tom and backed away politely. He expected no thanks and was offered none. Now he was glad that he had gobbled up the remains of the rabbit he had caught for Yellowfang. There would be nothing for him to eat until he went out hunting again tomorrow. Firepaw wandered over to Greypaw. His friend had eaten his fill and laid back with Ravenpaw outside the apprentice den. He was stretched out on his side, rhythmically washing a foreleg. Greypaw saw Firepaw approach and paused in his licking. Has Blue Star mentioned your punishment yet? He asked. Not yet, Firepaw replied gloomily. Greypaw narrowed his eyes sympathetically and said nothing. Blue Star's call sounded across the clearing. Let all cats old enough to catch their own prey join together for a meeting of our clan. Most of the warriors had finished eating, and, like Greypaw, were busy grooming themselves. They lifted themselves gracefully to their paws and walked over to High Rock, where Blue Star waited to speak. Come on, mewed Greypaw. He leapt up. Ravenpaw and Firepaw followed him as he scampered over and nudged his way forward into a good position. I'm sure you've all heard about the prisoner we brought back with us today, Blue Star began, but there's something else you need to know. She glanced down at the rattled she-cat who lay very still beside High Rock. Can you hear me from there? She asked. I may be old, but I'm not deaf yet, Yellowfang spat in reply. Bluestar ignored the prisoner's hostile tones and continued. I'm afraid I have some very grave news. Today I traveled with the patrol into WindClan territory. The air was filled with the scent of ShadowClan cats. Almost every tree had been sprayed by ShadowClan warriors, and we met no WindClan cats even though we journeyed deep into their heartland. Her words were met with silence. Firepaw saw confusion in the faces of the clan cats. Do you mean ShadowClan has chased them out? Called Small Ear hesitantly. We cannot be sure, Bluestar meowed. Certainly the scent of ShadowClan was everywhere. We found blood, too, and fur. There must have been a battle, though we found no bodies from either clan. A shocked yowl rose from the crowd in a single voice. Firepaw knew felt the cats around him stiffen with shock and fury. Never before had one clan driven another from its hunting grounds. How can WindClan have been driven out? One-Eye croaked hoarsely. ShadowClan is fierce, but WindClan is many. They have lived in the uplands for generations. Why have they been chased out now? She shook her head anxiously, her whiskers trembling. I don't know the answers to your questions, meowed Bluestar. It is well known that ShadowClan has recently appointed a new leader, following the death of Ragged Star. Their new leader, Broken Star, gave no hint of any threat when we met him at the last gathering. Perhaps Yellowfang has some answers, snarled Darkstripe. After all, she is of ShadowClan. I'm no traitor. Nothing would make me share the secrets of ShadowClan with a brute like you, growled Yellowfang, glaring aggressively at Darkstripe. The ThunderClan warrior moved forward, ears flat, eyes closed to slits, ready for a fight. Stop! Yelled Bluestar. Darkstripe immediately halted in his tracks, even though Yellowfang goaded him on with blazing eyes and a ferocious hiss. That's enough, Bluestar growled. This situation is too serious for us to be fighting amongst ourselves. ThunderClan must prepare itself. From this moonrise onwards, warriors will travel in large groups. Other clan members will remain close to camp. Patrols will travel the boundaries edges more frequently, and all the kits must stay in the nursery. The cats below her nodded in agreement. Bluestar continued. Our need for warriors is our greatest obstacle. We shall get around this by speeding up the training of our apprentices. They need to be ready even sooner to fight for our clan. Firepaw saw Dustpaw and Sandpaw exchange a thrilled glance. Greypaw was gazing up at Bluestar, his eyes wide with excitement. Ravenpaw just shuffled his paws anxiously. The black apprentice's wide eyes showed worry rather than excitement. Bluestar went on. One young cat has been sharing mentors with Greypaw and Ravenpaw. By teaching him, I shall speed up the training of all three apprentices. She paused and looked down at her clan. I shall take on Firepaw as my own apprentice. Firepaw opened his eyes wide in amazement. Bluestar was to be his mentor? Beside him, Greypaw gasped, unable to hide his surprise. What an honor! It's been moons since Bluestar had an apprentice. Usually she trains only the kits of deputies. A familiar voice rose from the front of the crowd. It was Tigerclaw. So, Firepaw is to be rewarded, not punished, for feeding an enemy warrior when he should have been feeding his own clan. Firepaw's my apprentice now. I will deal with him, answered Bluestar. She stared into Tigerclaw's fierce eyes for a moment before lifting her head to address the whole clan once more. Yellowfang will be allowed to stay here until she has recovered her strength. We are warriors, not savages. She is to be treated with respect and courtesy. But the clan cannot support Yellowfang, Duststripe protested. We have too many mouths to feed already. Yeah, Greypaw whispered into Firepaw's ears, and some of them are bigger than others. I don't need anyone to care for me, spat Yellowfang, and I'll split open anyone who tries. Friendly, isn't she? Greypaw murmured. Firepaw flicked the tip of his tail in silent agreement. There were muffled meows from the other warriors as they grudgingly recognized the enemy warrior's fighting spirit. Bluestar ignored the murmuring. We shall kill 2 prey with 1 blow, as it were. Firepaw, as punishment for breaking the warrior's code, it'll be your responsibility to care for Yellowfang. You will hunt for her and tend her wounds. You will fetch fresh bedding and clear away her dirt. Yes, Bluestar, mewed Firepaw, his head bowed in submission. Clear away her dirt, he thought to himself. Ugh. Mocking yells came from Dustpaw and Sandpaw. Good idea, hissed Dustpaw. Firepaw better be good at cracking fleas. And hunting, added Sandpaw. That sack of bones is going to need feeding up. Enough! Enough! Bluestar interrupted them. I hope Firepaw will find no shame in caring for Yellowfang. She is a healer, and she is his elder. For those reasons alone he should respect her. She shot a sharp glance at Sandpaw and Dustpaw. And there is no humiliation in caring for another cat when it is unable to take care of itself. The meeting is over. I would like to speak to my senior warriors alone now. With that, she jumped down from the high rock and marched towards her den. Lionheart followed her. The other clan cats began to move away from the high rock. 1 or 2 congratulated Firepaw on being chosen as Bluestar's apprentice. Others mockingly wished him luck looking after Yellowfang. Firepaw felt so dazed by Bluestar's announcement, he just nodded blankly. Longtail padded up to him. The V-shaped nick in Firepaw had cut in the tip of his ear still showed. The young warrior drew back his whiskers into an ugly snarl. Well, I hope you'll think twice about bringing strays back to camp next time, he sneered. Like I said, outsiders always bring trouble.